All right, hey everybody, we're back, and I'm excited because today I'm also nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Today we're cooking one of my favorite dishes, Thai food. We're going Asian today, and I hope that I do it some justice. It's one of the meals that I cook pretty often, but picture it, 2010, Boston, me, no hair, and broke. That was my life back then. And I got some friends who I met in Florida. They were living in Boston at the time. And they were like, hey, come out to eat with us. And we'll go to this restaurant. And so I was like, okay, sure, fine. Why not? I don't have any friends here. I'm lonely. So I'll go hang out with you guys. So we go to this Thai restaurant. And of course, I'm from Florida. So there's no Thai restaurants here, really, especially not in 2010. So I was like, what? No, I just eat fried chicken and mashed potatoes and steaks. That's it. So anyway, we go. I was like, let me find something on this menu that I think I might be able to eat. And I see there's Thai fried rice and chicken. I was like, okay, Chinese food. Gosh, so dumb, so ignorant. And so I order it. And y'all, oh my gosh, it was so good. It was way more than I expected. It was unbelievable. That's what I can say about it. And there's so many different flavors. It's not Chinese food, takeout Chinese food at all. It's something different. So I'm making that today, Thai fried rice with Thai fried chicken, as well as a delicious coconut sticky rice and some summer rolls with a peanut sauce. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. We also are going on a field trip today and got fresh vegetables and fruits. Fresh, Mom. I got my vegetables in today. So be proud of me. So let's go cook it. Let's just get in the kitchen. Today, I'm making a meal inspired by Thailand, from appetizer to dessert. I'll start by making sticky rice cake, then a refreshing spring roll, and round it off with a show-stopping Thai fried rice with Thai fried chicken. But before we do that, we're gonna take a little trip to the local farmer's market for some fresh ingredients. We're here with Mitch, and Mitch is one of the manager here at the farmer's market. And we're gonna talk with him a little bit about what he got out here. So, Mitch, tell us about yourself.
Well, I started the grocery business right out of high school virtually, and so I've got a lot of retail background, but spent almost 3 decades of my life in the grocery business, most of that in produce, in the retail aspect.
That's pretty awesome. So you have a lot of retailers. Do you service like restaurants and stuff like that as well?
Oh yes.
That's cool. Now, one thing you mentioned, you said a lot of people don't know about this spot, and I think that is really interesting because this place has been here for so long, like since 1938, I believe, right?
Yeah, we are started right off of this rail line back here.
Okay.
Back in the day when all these citrus products would be coming in the wintertime, during the winter season from South Florida, it would come right up this rail line and go around the bend, and it was offloaded right over here on the other side of the viaduct.
Oh wow.
And folks would come out and buy oranges by the bushel and by the bag, and that evolved into what became the farmer's market. You know, a lot of folks in Jacksonville and in the whole entire region know about us, but it still amazes us how many people know we're here, but think that we're just for restaurants or just for small grocers or for small roadside stands, and we're for everybody.
Huh, that's pretty interesting. Now you have how many vendors out here selling different things?
Right now, as far as folks with the weekly spots that they rent and hold down for a whole week, these guys are renting this stall as a wholesale vendor for the entire week. But if we threw everybody in, we're just over 20.
That's awesome. So this is a great place to shop for restaurants. This is a great place to shop for local people. I shop here on the regular. I try to come out here at least once a week, if not every other week.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Stuff. And
they appreciate that. They get their living off of this.
That's awesome. And what I found really interesting was, so I usually stop at one of the stalls over there. It's closed right now, but they have so much different stuff that you don't normally find in the grocery stores. They have a lot of different root vegetables, a lot of different vegetables or fruits that you wouldn't find in varieties too. Instead of just one mango, they have 2 different types of mangoes. So stuff like that I think is really interesting and why I love coming out to shop here.
Yeah, and we've got, you're right, they, and that's part of us being an everything market. The lady I believe you're talking about, she is of Thai Cambodian descent. She knows of things that a lot of us don't know of, that her family and her friends and her community are looking for, and whether it's taro root or whether it's yucca, something like that, ginger root, they sell tons of it.
And there's things that you find here that I remember growing up on, like, well, not growing up on, but like sugar cane you can find out here.
Oh yeah.
Something I remember you chewing on as a child, but that you wouldn't find necessarily in a grocery store.
We've got a family that'll be here probably the end of this week, and this open area that you see back here, we reserve that for a lot of seasonal vendors, for a lot of craft vendors on the weekend. But they'll be coming in from Central South Florida, a family that for probably 20 years have been in the mango business, and they bring in as many as 8 different types of mangoes from South Central Florida, and they go out and pick them themselves. They have an agreement with a grower that he apparently doesn't go in and harvest these things. They go out into the mangrove, the mango areas, growing areas, and they pick all these things themselves and haul them out, and they'll truck them up here. And they'll have mangoes from not much bigger than a tangerine all the way up to the size of a small football. Oh, wow. And folks know every year when they come in that, you know, it's that time, and they'll shop them all the way to about August.
Okay.
And
that's really awesome. I think this is a really cool place. I love what we're doing here, and I think that you all should shop locally where possible. And come out and visit Jacksonville Farmers Market. Mitchell is out here almost every day doing something. They have a lot of different stalls, a lot of different vendors and food. So come out, shop at the farmers market, and I'll see you guys back at the house. There are so many different recipes for sticky rice all across Asia. The most popular worldwide is mochi, which is a Japanese rice cake. However, in Thailand, they make a rice cake with pandan extract and serve with either raspberry or mango sauce. I've got my 9 by 9 inch pan greased up with canola oil, and now we'll just go and do it. I like to start on the opposite end. So the dessert and the appetizer are generally what I like to make first. And so right now we're starting with the rice. This is sticky rice, also called glutinous rice, which isn't about gluten, it's about the gluey texture of the rice. Now, get this rice to a boil and let it simmer so that we can use it for our sticky rice cake. In the meantime, while this is boiling, I'm actually gonna put this over on the stove and let it continue boiling there. I'm gonna show you guys the sauce that we will use for this rice. Now to make the sauce, it's really easy. You need a half a cup of coconut milk, and some sugar to taste. I use like about a half cup of sugar, so it's a 1-to-1 ratio, if you will. Sometimes I use a little less, but just test it out, see where you are, how you like it. You're gonna stir that together, get that to all together, and get the sugar to dissolve. Once the sugar dissolves, we're gonna add some cornstarch to help thicken it up. And that's just the sauce right there. You just keep stirring it until it's thick. Well, you don't have to stir right now, but get that dissolved, put that in, get it stirred up until it's thick, and we have sauce, and it'll be delicious. So I'm gonna go put a lid on my rice because it's just starting to boil, and it's gonna be tasty. All right, so rice has finished, or is just about cooked. The last thing you wanna do is steam the rice. And listen, I know a lot of pots now come with like this little hole, this vented hole. You wanna steam the rice and we don't want any steam to escape. So take a little piece of foil, put it over there, put the top over, turn the rice off, and just kind of get this tight, little tight seal around it, and it'll steam your rice. It's such a cool thing. We're gonna let this steam for about 10 minutes. And after I let it steam, we should have good sticky rice and we can finish the process. Just turn the heat off, leave it on the burner. And here we go. So 10 minutes and counting, T-minus 10. Bye. All right, so the rice is cooked and it looks, and the house just smells of rice. The next thing that we want to do is add our coconut milk. This is regular coconut milk. This isn't our sauce that we made. So you're gonna add in about 2/3 cups or 3/4 cups of coconut milk and sugar. And again, what I like about this recipe is that it's to taste. So just add sugar. I usually do like between a half a cup and a cup of sugar, just depending on my sweet toothness. And what I really love about this particular recipe, you just mix it in, is that I have something in my arsenal that is gluten-free and dairy-free. So my vegan friends, my gluten intolerant friends, I always know what I can whip up that's a tasty treat without really having to do a lot of modifications. I have a little tasty treat that I can give them and say, hey, we're having Asian food. Even this whole meal, in fact, like when you think about it, other than the chicken, you take out the chicken, it's vegetarian. You replace the fish sauce with maybe soy sauce if you want to, and now it's vegan. And rice doesn't have gluten in it, so it's still a gluten-free meal. So you just get this really awesome alternative to, I don't want to call them faux foods, but really faux foods. Like you don't have to go and search for faux turkey or whatever. You just use regular ingredients for a regular meal that someone is eating somewhere else around the world on a regular basis. So it's just so good. Anyway, I'm gonna add a little bit more sugar because I know I'm gonna have a little bit of a sweet tooth today. Cause I've been running. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I've been going out and running so that I can eat what I wanna eat. Now, the last part of this recipe calls for something called pandan, and it is pandan extract, and it comes from a plant. From my understanding of it, in Asia, this is kind of like their vanilla-ish. They kind of use it like vanilla extract like we do here in the States. It's to taste, of course. It's green. There are these pandan extracts and essence of pandan that are artificial, that are really, really bright green and like emerald green, and they'll dye things emerald green. You can use those too. And what's really cool about when you use those is that a lot of times with these cakes, you'll see layers. So they'll have a white layer and then a really green, bright green layer on top of that. But it doesn't really work with like real legit pandan extract from the actual plant that doesn't have food coloring in it. So there won't be any layers, but you just mix that in. I have a greased 9x9 pan. I'm gonna put a little bit more pandan in there. There you go. I have a greased 9x9 pan. And you literally just dump it in. Dump it in, spread it out, and let it sit, kind of like a jelly roll. And it will fit the mold. You can let this sit overnight. It'll fit the mold. And then when you cut out pieces, you're supposed to warm them up again, because this is a well, not hot, but a dessert you're supposed to serve warm. So put some cling wrap over it or some aluminum foil, get it in the fridge, and let it sit. It should be ready by dinner time if you made this the same day. You can make it a day ahead too. Boom, pretty. I think it's so pretty. It's just rice and stickiness and deliciousness. Now what you should do also, so we have our sauce. The other thing you're gonna use is like cut up a mango or use raspberry as a garnish on top. It's gonna be so good. So sticky rice. I'm gonna get this in the fridge. So what I love about Asian food is that it is so flavorful. I mean, just the depth of flavors and spices and just everything that they do in Asian cuisine is so much different than American or Western cuisine in general. I mean, talking about spices and thinking about how we even got spices today. So spices really started on the spice trade, which was about 1500 BC, so a long time ago. And they would bring spices over in this circular thing where it'd be Asia, and then they come down into Africa, and then they go back up into Europe, and they kind of circle it around that way. But anyway, a lot of the spices that we have today, cinnamon, mustard, cardamom, chilies, did I say ginger? Cinnamon, I did say it. Whatever. Anyway, a lot of spices come out of Asia that we eat today, and I just love it because it's so great in the food that we eat. What makes Thai food distinctly different from Asian food or other Asian countries? Well, I think Thai fried rice in general, when we're talking about that, because I don't know a lot about Asian food, I'm kind of just getting into all of this stuff. But the difference between Thai fried rice and Chinese fried rice is that you use soy sauce in Chinese fried rice as a base. And then in Thai food, they use fish sauce, which is stinky. And I've never actually tasted it on its own because it just doesn't, but it tastes good. I don't know what it is. It's something about when you put it in the rice that makes it taste great. So I really like it. When you talk about the differences between American food and Chinese, or not Chinese, Thai food or Asian food in general, what I find unique and different is that in Asian food, there isn't a lot of dairy. You see a lot of dairy substitutes, if you will, like coconut milk, but a lot of it is just spice-based, which is why I love it so much, because there's just so much different flavor going on and spice combinations and sweet and sour. Whereas American food is good, don't get me wrong, Western food, period. It's all good, I love it, it's delicious. But a lot of it is dairy based. So that's probably the biggest difference that I see. With dessert out of the way, it's time to focus on dinner and the appetizer. So of course we have to make the marinade for our chicken, and we're doing this by hand. This isn't some bottle sauce. So we are making a Thai marinade, which uses 6 garlic cloves, which I've already peeled. Throw that into a processor. We need to make a paste first. And then we're also taking about 2 tablespoons of cilantro stems. Now, the recipe normally calls for cilantro root, but it's not the easiest thing to find in the world. But you can probably find it at an Asian market too. I just didn't have time to get to one today. But if you can't find that, use the stems instead. And I got stems going all over the place. Anyway, you blend that up into a paste with 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Once you have your paste, combine it with 4 tablespoons of fish sauce, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, and a ½ tablespoon of ground black pepper. Mix in with 2 pounds of chicken and refrigerate for 4 to 6 hours or overnight. Now, usually when I do this, I usually do chicken breast, and then that way I can chop up the chicken breast and then put it over the rice. But today I'm doing something different, and I'm using 2 pounds of chicken wings. So this little marinade is enough to cover to about 2 pounds of chicken wings, or 2 pounds of chicken in general. So we're gonna get this on the chicken. We'll let that sit for about 30 minutes to overnight. I would recommend doing this overnight. And then we will, then I can batter up the chicken and get it fried and ready to go. Once you have your paste, combine it with 4 tablespoons of fish sauce, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, and a ½ tablespoon of ground black pepper. Mix in with 2 pounds of chicken and refrigerate for 4 to 6 hours or overnight. The sauce for the summer rolls is a peanut sauce, or they would call it a satay, is usually what you hear it being called. And satay, which is usually associated with a lot of Thai food. You get like skewers and whatnot. Is actually a Malaysian sauce. So this is actually a gift from Malaysia and not from Thailand, but we are using it today for our summer rolls. In a saucepan, combine 14 ounces of coconut milk, a half cup of peanut butter, 2 tablespoons of dark soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of honey, 2 teaspoons of fish sauce, 1 teaspoon of sugar, a pinch of salt, 1 minced garlic. We're also going to add 2 tablespoons of tamarind puree. A tamarind puree or tamarind is actually a fruit vegetable. I don't know, whatever. It's in like one of the peanut families. It's this little bean. I guess it is a vegetable. It's like a bean that comes in a pod, like a green pod, like peanuts almost. And it's really sweet and it has like this tangy taste to it, but it's really good. I like it. We're also gonna add a pinch of salt and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Get that mixed up and then up into a boil. Don't forget your garlic, of course. And then our sauce will be ready. So there we go. Summer rolls are not really, I mean, they're Asian, but they're not Thai. There's no specific, they're everywhere, if you will. But what makes a spring roll different from a summer roll? We were doing summer rolls are generally made, are cold. So they usually have like herbs and maybe some cold meats in there. I'm actually doing a vegetarian summer roll today. And you need vermicelli noodles, which are rice noodles. And you soak those in some hot water for about 5 minutes or so until they get soft. You don't even like, I just had some water sitting warming on the stove. You let those sit for about 5 minutes while those are getting ready, and then we'll sink them into an ice bath. But while those are getting ready, I'm gonna clear off my surface here, and I do need to get some of my innards, I guess. Whatever goes inside these, whatever you're gonna put inside. Now I did some chopped carrots this morning. So we have some chopped carrots. I also have watercress, which are like, not watercress, I'm sorry, water chestnuts, which are water chestnuts. I like them because they give a different texture to the wrap. And then I also have some pickled ginger, pink pickled ginger, cucumber, mint, and some fresh basil. This is my basil plant, Miss Basil. And I've been growing it in the windowsill and it's been doing pretty well. I need to put some new dirt in there, but that's my plant. So we're actually using basil from my house because I'm getting better at keeping plants alive. And then also some cabbage. So I'm gonna get my knife, slice up this cabbage, get it rinsed off, and then we'll start, by that time that'll be ready and we'll cool that off and we'll be ready. We have our noodles, they're in an ice bath, nice and cold. I cut a cucumber in half because I want to get these sliced really thin so that they roll really nicely. So instead of just trying to hand slice it, what I'm doing is using my mandolin slicer. And this thing is pretty nifty. I only need a couple of things, so I'm not even gonna use this guard, but I want it kind of flush, so just getting some nice thin slices back there. And then nice and paper thin. I don't know if y'all can see, I'll show one to you, but like, it's just nice, translucent, almost. I see you. So good. Anyway, get these nice and sliced, get a couple of those, depending on how many rolls you intend to make. And we are going to get to rolling. Rice paper is rice, just pressed rice, pressed really thin, and it's dried out. And I would suggest when getting ready to handle rice paper to do it with dry hands because it's such a process. Make sure your surface can be damp, but make sure it's clean. Take a little piece of rice paper like this. Now these can also be fried. We're doing summer rolls again, so these don't need to be fried. I have a little shallow pan of ice and I count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it should come out. And this one can go a little bit longer. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. And yeah, that's good. That's good right there. Just get it nice and once you can't see it anymore in the water, that's pretty much how you know. It might be time for it to come up. Get it down. You fill it with some cabbage, a couple of strands of noodles, a little watercress, or I keep calling this watercress. It's not watercress. Water chestnuts. And some carrots. You can put whatever you want in here. Sometimes I put red cabbage, different things, and some pink ginger. It's really fun to figure out how to make this colorful. You can put mangoes in here. Like, you can really just go all out. All right, now what I'm gonna do is fold here, and I know you're like, wait, you're missing something. No, I'm not. All right, so you put your first fold, cucumber, another little cucumber there. And then you fold here, you fold there. And then that's when you start to roll. I'm gonna roll once. And then take a mint leaf, basil leaf, and if you're like into cilantro, you can do cilantro, whatever you want. You just fold, roll one more time, and you get these little nice egg rolls. Now my spring rolls, summer rolls aren't very tight because I haven't practiced very often, but the more you do it, the tighter they are. You don't have to be as gentle as I am. They'll dry out. I'm gonna do a couple more of these so that I have something for the guest, or really it's just me today, for me to share with myself. And then we'll have a nice little plate of rolls. Making fried rice is so easy. It is really just getting your wok nice and hot. And then putting some oil in it, getting the oil hot, and just taking your time. But it also goes really fast. So, fried rice, start with an egg. Start cracking egg right into, whoa! Cracking egg right into there and get that scrambled. I probably should have slid that on the side. It doesn't take long. Get that egg nice and scrambled. I highly recommend getting a wok spatula. They make it so easy. Start by pouring some oil into the heated wok. Don't add too much, maybe 1/4 of a cup or less. My mom always says you can always add more, but you can't take away. Crack an egg and scramble in the wok. Once it's cooked, remove it. So once your egg is nice and scrambled and you get it out of the pan, the next thing you want to do, if you don't have enough oil, you might want to pour just a little bit more back into there. Now remember, just less is more. You can always add more oil, but you can't take it away. So start off with a little bit at a time. I'm gonna let that get heated back up. And onions, carrots, ginger, and garlic is what we start off with for vegetables. And I like to do the ginger, really is not as traditional, but I like it because it just gives a different little bite to it. So I add about a tablespoon of a ginger garlic mixture. And then once that gets all fried up, we'll add in our rice and we'll be going. So here we go. Once the vegetables have cooked, push them to the side. Add about 1½ cups to 2 cups of rice in the wok. I recommend, if you're cooking for multiple people, to make servings individually. I've always been told that a good rule of thumb for cooking fried rice is to just start with a little bit, like a base of rice. That way it'll soak up all of the oil from the pan, and that way you get a nice dry rice. So we'll start off with a little base and get that cooking and mixed in. Now you're gonna use about 1.5 cups of cold fried rice, or cold rice, day-old rice if you have it. Just get some of that oil soaked up. Mix in the fish and soy sauce until well incorporated. Look at that color. It's so brown and pretty. Ugh, we are almost done here. These are Thai chili peppers. They're really, really spicy. This is another thing that's kind of like Thai traditional. It's gonna give you a lot of kick. I only add one because, man, those things pack some heat. So, almost done. Add Thai chilies to taste. Mix in some bean sprouts and green onions, and then the eggs. Remove and add tomatoes and cucumbers, and if you like, a little bit of white pepper. Serve this with a wedge of lime. All right, so we got the chicken all ready. It's been marinating. I'm mixing it in with my batter, which is made up in 3 parts. So you have 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and 4 tablespoons of rice flour. Again, if you want gluten-free, replace that rice or that all-purpose flour with something else. Cornstarch and rice flour are gluten-free. And we're just gonna get this into the oil. Our oil is hot, around at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're gonna fry this chicken up. And in a minute, we're gonna have everything we want for our delicious meal. Ooh, chicken, nice and golden. I'll take this out, and I'm actually going to, instead, a lot of people say put it on like a paper towel and let it soak the grease. I don't really want to do that because then it creates steam and then you just get a soggy bottom on the chicken. Put it on a nice wire rack, elevate it so the air's going up underneath it too. And I could have put a paper towel down, but I'm just gonna wipe down the countertop. And then just let it air dry and cool off. And then you get nice, crispy chicken all over. Don't do it the hard way, y'all. Do it the smart way. So, I'm gonna get this out, enjoy it, eat it, and I will see you guys at the table to enjoy our delicious Thai meal. It's lunchtime. And it looks so good, and it all turned out so beautiful. One of the reasons that I love Asian food again is because there's so much color, and I'm ready. So enough talking. I'm gonna try a little bit of everything, and I'll try to do this in order. So I'll have a sampling of our summer roll here, and I'm just going to fold that in half because I want to get that middle part, and I've put some little sauce there. So good, and I knew it would be. It has this springtime, I mean, even summertime, just the lightness to it, and you get to all the different parts. And especially when you hit that ginger, it just pops. I love it. But there's still so much to try, so I won't eat the whole thing right now. I'm gonna move on to our main dish and have some of the rice. I'm so excited. All right, so Let's try to get a little bit of everything. And with Thai fried rice, they usually have cucumbers and tomatoes that go along with it. I put a little bit of ginger in there, pickled ginger. I'm supposed to squeeze in the lime. I didn't squeeze my lime juice in. I'm gonna squeeze that about. Okay. Oh, and I got a little Thai chili, so this is gonna be really spicy. So good, and ooh, you get that punch from that chili pepper. Okay, so much to try. I feel like I'm at a big feast. So, piece of chicken, and I'm gonna do this one because it's super small. Just bite that off like that. Oh yeah, that's the stuff, baby. Isn't that nice? It's got that nice crunch to it. That's good stuff. All right, last and final thing, a dessert. And I don't have a napkin, but here's my spoon. It's so pretty. It's just like a little cake, and I'm a messy eater. The sauce and the mangoes. I put a little sprig of basil on top, and it's just. Let's see. I'm gonna go for this side over here. Get some of that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listen. Definitely gonna have to go for a good run today because, I mean, y'all see I'm going back for a second bite because it's just so good. It's the hot rice and the cold mango. And it's not like hot rice, it's just hot enough. And I just wonder. I stumbled on something new. That basil really took it over. All right, anyway, guys, it's been fun. Can't he cook it? Yes, he can. Now you can too. There were some kitchen blunders. We almost burned ourselves with grease when we fried that egg. So everything else went off without a hitch, I think. So, can't he cook it? Yes, he can, and now you can too. Remember to go to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe. The Facebook page, also like and subscribe and comment, and be on the lookout. Because last month I gave away some gift cards to go to Klein's Custom Meats, and this month there's another giveaway coming. So be ready. Enjoyed it. Can't he cook it? Yes, he can, and now you can too. Bye.